Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Industrialist 101 series. So, we already have the coal setup, basic coal setup. So, what I'm going to do now today is show you the research stations. So, you have technically 4 of these in the game. I'm going to place them all down. Okay, there we go. So, oof, I forgot to do the third one itself, sorry. Okay. So here is the entirety of the research station family. Research station 1 is over here, research station 2, research station 3, and research station 4. Yeah. Okay, so what you're first going to start off with in the game is this one. This is a very, very light RP system of how you get it, and requires pretty much 3 solar panels. But if you really want to get fancy, you can always get the wind turbine, as it does make 5 kmf and can power it very easily. But do be warned, you'll need 1 per thing if you want it to not struggle. So this doesn't require any inputs. As you can see, these all do require inputs, but Research Station 1 is the simplest form of your research station. Now we can get that out of the way. Research Station 2. This I suggest you to really get right after the Research Station 1, and I'll show you where you can get it. So here's your Research Station 1, and your Research Station 2. Let me find it real quick. Research Station 2 is all the way over here, right after iron extraction. And you might see you can't just power it. You can't just power it normally. It won't work without an input. Now this is where the RP system really comes into effect. So go over here to your recipes and say like gearbox. Gearbox is relatively easy to make early game, but we're not interested about the money. We're interested about this number right here, 50x RP. Now, I don't know what the X means, but I'm assuming it means times the original amount from what you would get from a 1. So probably 51x of what you get. Just know the higher the number, the better RP you get per. I think it's every single scan it does. And whenever you get to the stage of the game where you have this, what I do suggest you doing is a fairly simple copper setup. I mean, I'll get into that later on in the series, but for now, let me just show you. Now, what I mean by copper is not your normal copper. So first you'll get raw copper, then don't mind the hydraulic acid or hydrochloric acid or anything. You'll put in an electric furnace, you'll get your liquid copper, then you'll get your copper ingot, and then you'll press it, because this is honestly one of the better options you can get for your early game, since it's 6 RP, but let me show you. And see, Now you can see it is starting to turn. It's not going to turn RP into here, and I'll get to that after we get over to there. But all you need to know is that you need to keep a constant supply of these copper plates for it to work in a constant power supply. Now this is one of the more beefier guys, and you'll see why. I only get the pretty much infinite power thing, and I'll place it over here. So this requires 700 kmf. It's a very large jump from your 25 kmf. So when you do, so this does require tons more than what this requires, but as you can see, it has two inputs. And from what I've seen, or what I have experienced, you need a balance of the two. So what I do suggest you doing, since at this point of the game you should be making your crankshafts and your gears and everything, what I usually do, it's not the best, but go over here to your gear, 20 XP, and then get your crankshaft, 35. This kind of balance each other's out, and that's pretty much all you need to do, is input whatever you really want to. It just cannot be the same item. And you do need two items, but not of the same type. And then boom, there you go. And if you really want to know, so, and if it's under a certain amount, it will, because since these two are not above 200 or 600, I mean, well, this is, but the gear isn't, it will have a 25% reduction on what its cap is, and I'll explain to you what that cap means. Now, we got this guy. Since it is the 4th version, which, keep in mind, it is basically the Research Station 3, but it has this on it, which is basically just an extension, as you could guess. So, it's pretty much the same thing, but whenever you're getting to this point of the game, you should really not use your gear and your crankshaft, since you're already pretty much having a hard time doing this. You should really do something, not an electric motor, I'm not really sure what I could tell you, but it has to be over $600 from what I'm aware of, and it can't be anything like that, or really anything else. But just for the sake of the video, I'm just going to do the same setup. Now, please do remember, there is an entire Discord server out there that's, for this game, that's very useful on what you should and what you should not be using. So, let me just quickly do this. Remember, do not use this for your actual game. Since it is a Research Station 3 and 4, I'm just using it for an example. Now, you realize it's basically the same thing as this, but there's logic. This logic, I'm not aware myself how to do it, but there are spreadsheets out there in the Discord server that is very helpful on how to do this. That is the basics of this so far, and let me get into the more complex version of it. So, this is your research tracking panel. Whenever you have one of these on, and a research station or several research stations going on, it will tell you your cap and how many RP, how much RP you're getting per second from every single thing that you have going on right now. Now that's over with. That's pretty much it for this video. I can't really think of anything else that I could tell you that could help, besides the fact, always go into your recipe book and look. Of course, you're not using this for RP, but look at its RP value, look at its price, make sure you're make sure you're overall just checking if you're gaining any RP because you really do need that for the research tree, especially whenever you start getting into the very late games where you need 1,000, no, 1 million, 5 million, just the really, really big things. But that's pretty much it. Next video will be how to make a simple copper plate setup, and that's already assuming you have the research, which is basically just on your production line because that's all you really need. But now thinking of it, you're watching this and you're probably wanting a simple tutorial on your research stations. So what I do suggest you doing for these is lining them up in a very neat row. You should only do this whenever you have the money. They might be 75, but they're very costly to power whenever you're brand new to the game. It doesn't matter how big of a gap, just make sure you really have something that can fit in between here and transfer power efficiently. Like, you won't have the dev solar panel, but like, you wanna get your power source a little bit like right there, and just spread it out evenly, distribute the power that your power source is getting to these. And honestly, I wouldn't want to try and stress out these poles because they're not the best. What I really do suggest you doing is very early on in the game, get your better power poles because these become very obsolete very quickly. And just kind of do this until you get your research station 2. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you next video. Bye bye.